A Microsoft Copilot bug has been exposing confidential emails, said Inc. Microsoft says Office bug exposed customers' confidential emails, added TechCrunch. Even as far as Microsoft is uploading your confidential emails to Copilot for summarization from NeoWin. You'd be forgiven for thinking that Microsoft's enterprise AI solution is running amok, and you might as well just go log into DeepSeek and start sharing all your business secrets there instead. But not so fast. There was a security issue, but the reality of it is very different from what you might assume reading these headlines. In this age of AI hyperbole, the way the tech press covers these sorts of issues is consequential, as understanding where the real AI-based risks exists needs to be part of every business's responsible AI strategy. Keep watching to dig under the surface to learn what really happened and how we should actually be thinking about it. My name is Nick DeCourcy. I'm a Microsoft 365 consultant who specialises in AI adoption for small and medium-sized businesses. I'm also a Microsoft MVP for Microsoft 365 Copilot. If you're interested in keeping up with AI advancements, make sure you get subscribed to the channel and drop this video a like so you can get to see more from me in the future. And if you're interested in working with me, check out the links down in the video description to get in contact. Microsoft first revealed the security issue tracked as CW1226324 on January 21st. It highlighted a failure of one very specific control in a very narrow scenario. In this case, the Copilot DLP policy, a new purview option that restricts content with certain sensitivity labels from being processed by Copilot, was not working correctly for labelled emails present in a user's sent items or drafts folder. This was not a failure of basic mailbox permissions, nor of sensitivity labelling, nor of Microsoft's enterprise data protection commitment. It meant simply that labelled content in those specific folders could be surfaced in Copilot responses by a user with existing access to that content. Those responses, while including this information incorrectly, would, I suspect, still show an appropriate sensitivity label, as nowhere was it suggested this bug compromised that capability alongside all other compliance checks Copilot routinely does before displaying responses. I don't mean to minimise the impact of this issue. If you work in an environment where such a Copilot DLP policy is necessary, then you probably have really good reasons why you don't want AI to process that data, which may include legal compliance obligations. I'm guessing this is the reason the issue was highlighted by the UK's NHS health provider. But this issue was also a very long way from the blanket headline telling us that this bug was exposing confidential emails. This is just not an accurate telling of this problem. And the whole issue seemed to snowball on social media from there. Copilot was incorrectly processing emails and showing the outputs to people with existing approved access to see that content, in all likelihood while also showing them that a sensitivity label was applied. If that scenario leads to further data exposure, that's an issue of team training and responsible AI practices, not of this technical fault. I have to credit Tony Redmond, as usual a bastion of publishing stuff where he actually knows what he's talking about, as the source for understanding what was going on with this problem. He surfaced this on February 13th, and it appears other outlets just ran with it, each sprinkling a little more sensationalism on the issue to one-up each other. And while I'm sure this leads to more clicks and more eyes on these websites, if their goal is to tell the story that AI can be risky and we should aim to use it safely, in my opinion, they miss the mark. Microsoft is far from perfect either on its AI products nor on the security around them. But nor is Google with Gemini or ChatGPT or any number of other services. Yet despite these sorts of issues that will come up from time to time with any major software provider, 2025 research from IBM suggests that one of the biggest risks isn't your chosen AI vendor making a mistake, but your failure to successfully adopt a corporate AI tool to avoid your users leaking data to shadow AI accounts. And in this context, the most logical first step for the hundreds of millions of user seats accessing Microsoft 365 is Copilot. Not because it is perfect, and not because security issues haven't come up, but because ChatGPT is never going to have a security vulnerability related to how it honours AI-related DLP settings in your email data, because it simply doesn't have a product offering that provides an integrated productivity, governance and AI ecosystem like Microsoft 365. And this breadth of what Microsoft is able to provide and integrate out of the box is the perfect fodder for this tech press sensationalism that seems to focus far more on clicks than actually understanding and articulating what are very complicated issues. Take another example, like the excitement a couple of years back about Microsoft Recall. The collective tech press lost their minds about the idea of Microsoft adding AI-based value related to what you do on your PC. But when ChatGPT releases a browser or Anthropic releases a browser plugin that both offer similar levels of access to a place where you're probably doing a lot of your work, many of those who were worried about Microsoft security are suddenly a lot quieter. This is absolutely not me saying that Microsoft got everything right with Recall, and there were very genuine problems pointed out by researchers with deep expertise on these issues that Microsoft then had to go fix. But my point is that when we are dealing with a new technology like AI that is creating new risks we all need to understand to stay safe, when the tone of reporting seems more guided by the name of the vendor than the actual profile of the bug or risk, that's a real problem for all of us who are trying to keep up. So what should our takeaway be here? Across the board, implementing AI in our businesses creates new risks, and the pace of output from all the AI vendors as they seek to outcompete one another compounds this problem. But when considering the major productivity ecosystem providers like Microsoft or Google versus more niche offerings, we must balance the breadth of the compliance and governance surface they are trying to herd into the AI age versus the issues being surfaced in their products when considering overall risk. Microsoft can have a failure of DLP compliance because it has a broadly used DLP compliance offering. I challenge you to go and buy an equivalent tool from Perplexity or Anthropic to help manage your data there. In fact, you're far more likely to be using a product like Microsoft's Endpoint DLP to secure your use of Claude than you are using Claude to secure your use of Microsoft 365. Ultimately, it's likely that the answer to the problem of how do we best integrate AI most safely into an existing business data ecosystem will come from a provider like Microsoft, just because this is the real estate they own. Sensationalized headlines that lead you to focus on their failures rather than understanding their successes might lead you in the wrong direction when it comes to selecting tools. And if this is the case, you might end up taking on more risk in the long term than is truly necessary, or at the very least a great deal more setup complication to achieve the same result. If you're using AI or rolling it out in your business, being concerned about the risks it surfaces and taking steps to ensure it's used safely and responsibly is absolutely the right call. This is an issue both of technology selection and of user training, and making the right choices across both these dimensions can be tricky, particularly when the news we consume fails to tell the story fairly. If you need help with your adoption efforts, please do reach out. I assist many business owners and IT leaders with framing safe and impactful AI strategies. Information to get in touch is down in the video description. I hope this video was useful to you, particularly if you'd already seen some of these headlines and you were wondering what's going on. Thanks for watching through to the end. Until the next video, bye bye.